We're going to be talking about this major U-turn that we have just saw in the markets since yesterday, since that FOMC meeting that happened, which was a crucial meeting. I don't over leverage myself before the FOMC meetings. Well, I don't usually over leverage myself usually, right? But that is event, a macro event I am especially careful of because of the volatility that could happen, and we saw the volatility that happened yesterday when Bitcoin dipped down to about 116K there, and it looked like it was going to continue breaking down before starting a massive U-turn, like with the S&P 500, right? I'm going to be talking about the significance of this turn here, and something that I think everyone is missing here is that we're still seeing higher lows on the daily time frame, and the breakout I've been talking about for this falling wedge pattern that's on this 12-hour time frame that has been building since about July 14th when it hit that 123K, right? This breakout is still valid. Price target for this breakout is right above 125K there. And why is this important for your altcoin bags? It's because if Bitcoin pumps, then that's still very good for your altcoins. It is still the driver of this crypto markets, right? And so you want to be rooting for Bitcoin here. You do not want Bitcoin to be dumping because we saw Bitcoin dump yesterday during that meeting, and it was not good for the altcoins, right? I'm still bullish on this market. I'll tell you guys when I change my opinions and why that would be. But right now, I'm still bullish on the markets. And we're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoins later in this video, usually after the 10-minute mark. We're going to be talking about SwftCoin, SWFT, DIA, DIA, as well as THETA Coin, and see what's going on in these markets. What are their price targets, trading patterns? Where are they likely to move towards? I also want to answer some viewer questions. I know one of them was, what do I think about AI coins? I think that is the new trend right now versus the last bull cycle. It was DeFi and memes, and NFTs, right? I think right now AI coins is the trending topic right now. I am bullish. I like AI, right? I like the technology. I don't personally use ChatGPT anymore. I think Grok is a lot easier to use. That's basically the AI chatbot in Twitter or on X. Because I don't wanna open a new app every time I want to use a chatbot, and I'm already on Twitter, and I've been getting some pretty good answers from Grok. I also think that there's gonna be coins from every segment, like memes, AI, DeFi. That's gonna be pumping harder than other coins in their segments. But overall, I think cryptos are going to be pumping, right? As Bitcoin continues its bull cycle. If you actually take a look into any altcoins and their charts back in 2021, I think it's going to be very hard to find a coin that has not pumped in 2021. That was the last bull cycle, right? Unless the coin came out in like July or August 2021, then maybe it would have a hard time. But I've seen almost, if not all, altcoins pumped, right? At least on the exchanges that I traded on, which was Binance, Binance US, Coinbase, and those were the two main exchanges, right? So I mean, you guys can point out any anomalies of altcoins that did not pump in 2021, and we could talk about that. But I think all altcoins are going to pump to a certain multiplier, right? All right, let's go ahead and take a look into some news first before diving into the charts, right? If you guys want to skip ahead to altcoins, which I highly don't recommend, you guys can go over to maybe the 10-minute mark and after, but I highly don't recommend it because I don't trade altcoins without a clear understanding of what's happening with Bitcoin. All right, let's take a look into some news here. This is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin is now bigger than Amazon. Okay, here's how it became a top 5 asset. Uh, this is probably something you might want to just read if you're interested in. But I know Bitcoin has been coming up, right? It's no surprise. It's becoming more mainstream as it is being adopted by corporations, governments. I've seen the growth in the past 5+ years since I've been in this space, trading in this space mainly. Okay. Um, and Amazon really hasn't done that much. I mean, what could they really do, right? I mean, they could expand globally, but I've already seen, Amazon matured quite a bit already. I'm not sure what else could they be doing. I mean, they have the AWS, the clouds, but yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin has been having some major growth as it has been adopted by institutions, governments, and of course, just retail as well. Next is by News BTC. Altcoins stay in danger zone until Bitcoin clears this level. Analyst says. Let's just go back to the charts here. I do think that you know I do think that we're actually in a safer zone than yesterday. I'll tell you guys why. I actually opened a long on a altcoin position on Jasmine, which is not a super small coin, but I think it's a medium sized coin. I think it fits the situation more appropriately, at least in my opinion. I don't want to get into anything too small right now, given that I don't really have that much dry powder right now. But that is something that's more safer. But I also wanted to go long as well because we're still, I'm still looking at this breakout here and it's still valid. But of course, this is just my opinion. This entire video is my opinion. It's not financial advice. You still got to do your own research when trading your own stuff, right? All right, let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. So yeah, I do think that altcoins are not. I mean, we're still kind of in shaky zone right now until we clear that 123K area, which was the previous resistance. All right, next piece here is going to be by Cointelegraph. 99% of CFOs plan to use crypto long term, 23% within 2 years. And this is by Deloitte. I'm not sure how. I mean, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, that sounds very bullish for crypto and, of course, yeah, for crypto in general. But I mean, I gotta take it with a grain of salt. It's like how many CFOs? It's like all the CFOs that probably work with Deloitte, which is huge. I want to know how the study was conducted, right? I think that's more interesting to read into before really trusting these headlines, right? But I mean, I don't doubt it that more and more corporations are going to be using crypto in the long term. It's becoming more mainstream. Um, but yeah, it's something probably interesting to read into, but if I have time, but it's just an interesting headline. All right, next piece here is going to be by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin price retargets 119K as treasuries buy 28,000 Bitcoin in 2 days. Okay, so yeah, I do think that 119K is going to be the next resistance here. But we really don't have that much data in this zone here. I mean, if we were to actually make a pretty good push here, I don't really see that much resistance, right? I mean, this is completely new zone. We don't have that much data. If we actually talk about the 123K area, that was the previous all-time high. We have one basically daily candle here that we got a rejection, and when I see a daily candle, just one candle as resistance, I mean that's not really that strong of a resistance here. Just purely from a trader's perspective. So yeah, let's go ahead and go to Bitcoin. This next piece here is by Dow Jones Newswire. Bitcoin price rises. What's driving crypto after Fed rate decision? Barron's.com. Now, this is more interesting because, Yesterday, I did not watch the press conference. I really just are interested in the highlights and how it moves the probability of a rate cut for September. And that was actually a pretty major movement. Let's just take a look at the CME watch tool here, which I've been sharing with you guys on that it's pretty accurate in terms of predicting a Fed rate cut. It does change from day to day or even in a couple of hours based on news and data that comes out. But after yesterday's press conference, I mean, as you guys can remember, before yesterday, we had a Fed rate cut probability of about over 60%. Now is actually down to 40% about. That is significant decrease. But the market just shook it off. Like that was I mean, I think this is definitely interesting to read into and see why Dow Jones Newswires think that is, or Barron's.com think that is. But that was very unusual, right? As I saw uh, the the probability of a rate cut decrease from about almost 60% down to about even the high 40s yesterday. I saw the market just reacted negatively before taking a massive U-turn. Okay, let's take a look into the charts here. So if you guys want to read more about that, you guys can pull the news from TradingView. If you guys don't have TradingView, use my affiliate link in the description section below. I will get a commission if you guys sign up using my link. It's definitely worth it. Don't be trading without using TradingView here. Okay, so basically, let's see here. Just take a look into this Bitcoin chart. I was talking about this yesterday. Okay, during that press conference, basically Bitcoin went from about um almost 119k there, almost down to about just 116k, below 116k. That was actually a pretty scary drop for a couple of reasons. One of which would be invalidating this falling wedge pattern I've been talking about with you guys last week, which is, it looked very uncertain for a couple of days. And if you're long on altcoins, you definitely want to see this actually break to the upside. And right now, it's still this breakout is still valid, okay? Because even though after yesterday's dip there, I mean the bulls just bought this right back up, right? If we actually zoom out a little bit, you can still see a very subtle higher low here. Okay, the first low was July 20th. The second low I'm talking about here is July 25th. Yesterday's low is still a very subtle higher low here. And why are higher lows important? It's because that's basically the definition of an uptrend. Okay, if higher lows hold, then the next logical move is a higher high. So let's see if this actually holds. And this is right at the bottom, at the top trend line here of this breakout, right? So that's why I opened a long position, but I'm still careful at this point, right? I am long on Bitcoin and quite a bit of these altcoins here. So of course I'm still bullish on the markets. But that is basically my reasoning for opening a long position yesterday. Okay, after that, after seeing this, what's happening here. I am going to be looking for a short-term profits because it is on leverage. Okay. Now let's go ahead and go to some altcoin charts. I know you guys been waiting for the altcoin charts, and I've just been rambling on. Okay, but let's take a look first into Theta. What's happening with Theta? Let's take a look into the weekly time frame. I'm gonna jog through some of these ideas more quickly because I am on a 20-minute time limit. Now, Theta on this weekly time frame, there is a falling wedge pattern that's probably more validated on the daily time frame. But we're gonna zoom out, and then we're gonna take a look here. This is a falling wedge pattern, which is a very common pattern. Usually tells you after an extensive downtrend on that time frame that it's usually going to break to the upside. If it does break to the upside, I have a price target, which is basically the measurement of the opening of the pattern, and then you put it on top of an estimated breakout point. That will give Theta about a $5.50 price target there. Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more or less. Very much depends on what the market is. I think it is still a bullish market right now. And of course, it depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping, that's still very bad for these altcoins, and these setups could get broken. Of course, got to consider the downside as well, because even though these falling wedges tend to break to the upside, there still is a risk it breaks down. I've seen it. All right, let's go ahead and go to the a smaller time frame here. 4-hour time frame. Okay, falling wedge again. Now this is on a smaller time frame. Let's take a price target out of this one. Opening of the pattern. Put it on top of an estimated breakout point. Let's just say here, for example, it doesn't have to, but if it breaks out by this point, it will give you a price target of about $1. This is on the 4-hour time frame. Let's go ahead and go to SwftCoin. SwftCoin next. Now this is SWFT, and I have a small bag of this coin. Let's take a look here. Weekly time frame. Weekly time frame. I talked about, I think probably a falling wedge pattern here that's more validated on the daily time frame. Okay, so excuse me. Daily time frame. I talked. There was a falling wedge pattern here, right? And it broke out of here. Price target was about just right above 1.5 cents. It didn't hit that price target before getting rejected. I mean, it did go to about 1.5 cents, but just not exactly that price target before getting rejected. All the way back down to about 1.1 cents there. What could SwftCoin be doing right now? Let's take a look into the 4-hour time frame, because that's what I do if I want to get more clarity on what's happening. Now, there is a possible falling wedge scenario if SwftCoin does not break above this upper trend line here. Because if it doesn't break this upper trend line, it could form something like this, right? That's pretty common to see. I'm just estimating here if it doesn't. But there is some bullish divergence with there's some bullish divergence on this 4-hour time frame. If you guys can see, a double bottom pattern as well, which usually breaks the upside. If it does, that would take SwftCoin out of this upper trend line. The neckline would be about 1.22 cents, okay? Price target would be about 1.3 cents price target. So a smaller move, but you know, that's what it is on a smaller time frame. Let's take a look into DIA. See what's happening in this coin here. Last time I talked about a falling wedge pattern. Probably. I'm waiting for the charts to load. That's already probably met its target here. So I'm talking about this and this. So I basically took away the trend lines. Let's take a look into what could be happening with DIA. We had we had 2 huge weeks here for this coin. You know, chances are after a pump like that, it could retrace, and it's basically been doing that for the past couple of days. This is the daily time frame, right? Let's take a look into smaller time frame. 4-hour time frame. Falling wedge. Again, some bullish divergence on this 4-hour time frame. Price target, if it breaks out of here, would be about $1.20 price targets. However, if it does not break out, and if it breaks down instead, the next key level support I think I'll be looking at will be the daily 21 SMA, currently coming up, but currently at about the 72 cent area. This wraps it up for this video. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins, and make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.